How's it going, guys? It's Nerf Gun Charlie, and yes, this is the announcement video for my next project I'm working on. As you can tell by the title and by my main menu screen, we are looking at Star Trek Armada Fleet Command. Now, this is a mod that never got released publicly. It was never even finished. This was made by Mr. AFC himself, the founder of ArmadaFleetCommand.com. So the founder of that website, this was his project. I believe he started it in late 2007 or 2008. I know a lot of the posts for it on the forums are like, I think they started in 08, 09, so I want to say somewhere in there. This was his vision for what Star Trek Armada should have been. His catchphrase that I always see is Armada as it should be, or as it should have been. And basically, the way I've interpreted his work at this point is, this is what he wanted to be the new base mod for Armada. If you are doing Armada 1 modding, this is going to be the new base. You installed this for all the new goodies he was doing and working on with his team, and then from the bones of this you can make your new mod. And we just never got to see it. Honestly, if this had been around when we were building future tents back in 09, we had full access to this, we probably would have used this for its bones, because there's a lot of great things here, and I mean a lot of great things. This got handed over to, I want to say the final version that I have now is handed over to Thunder Chero, who's the current host of the AFC website. That's how I was able to get it, is I was asking about updates for this during my Future Tense, project, getting that out, and he sent me this, and surprisingly it's working on the GOG version. So this is on GOG, which, this is my Windows 10 machine, but I've got GOG working on Windows 11, which means this will work on Windows 11 too. I've got a laptop and a desktop with the latest version of Windows 11 testing as well. And the project here is to finish it. He was done with about 80% of the Federation, and he really hadn't done too much with the Borg, Klingons, or Romulans. We're going to change that. We are going to go ahead and finish what he started and get this out there. And when I mean this is a total conversion mod, I don't mean that he changed up multiplayer. I've only tested one single player mission. As you can see from this new menu, these missions are new in the sense that it's the same story from what I've gathered. So you're telling the same story through the campaigns, including the Omega missions. However, he actually altered the objectives of the missions. He's altered the mission maps themselves. For example, and I'll have to highlight this when I've actually finished the work, I'm going to have to do a full playthrough and record it for you guys, of this campaign. When you play Premonitions, you're not going to get the full intro video, because he's changed the event logs of what happens. But when it loads in, you're going to have more units, you're going to have a different tech tree file, so it's not going to be just build a mining facility, build a star base, the Jim'Hadar attack. You actually have the basic structure where you have access to a shipyard and some turrets and research station. On the map, there is a Nebula class that is derelict on the map. You can go ahead and get that, bolster your fleet. And one of the new units he's added to the Federation, the Oberth class, Heavy Scout, is also available as a derelict you can gather. He's radically changed the missions themselves. Like I said, it's still going to tell the same story, but it's not the same missions that we've been replaying for the last 25 years, because he's altered them. You have access to new things. The Ferengi, the Sona, the Cardassians, and the Dominion, they have a different AI structure. They have a full tech tree now. They're going to have their own stations, their own starships. So when you run into, let's say, the Ferengi and the Cardassians during one of the Romulan missions, it's not going to be just your random little stations that are reused and all of that. They have full tech trees now. They have, if I'm not mistaken, they have research. that they can do while they're in there. Like I said, I haven't fully explored it, but just going off of what I've seen in Map Editor and the SOD viewer of what he's done and the tech tree and everything else there, it is a lot different for single player. So this is going to be a campaign I have to play and show off. Multiplayer, it's going to be pretty fun. I'll just show you, he's updated a lot of the minions with more Cardassian feel, which has been fun to see. It's a little different, you know, seeing everything in green. And it's just stock maps in here, so there's nothing, you know, surprising in here. This is built on it being, it's just Star Trek Armada, but better. And I've patched it with 1.3, so it's going to have widescreen support. So this is what's coming. This is what the next project is. And I just wanted to show you guys a little taste of what this is. I think I've got a game saved. Oh, no, those are all old. That's actually, I need to delete those. Those are not current. That's overwrite from a previous file. So I'll show you guys a little tidbit of what we're looking at here. And like I said, it's not finished. And I've already made some changes that I'm going to install tonight for the UI aspect. But I just wanted to show you guys this. Because I'm excited. I'm very excited. I didn't even think this project was still around. So, you have new physics. You notice your cursor looks different. What's underneath the model for the highlight cursor is different. That's your infinite moon. I'm going to shrink this down, but this is his planet with the atmosphere. New nebulas all around. This is basically, if you recognize the nebulas, the cloud structure and all that, this is the mod that I've pulled the map assets from for Orb of Time and what I tried to install into Future Tense. This is the home mod of that. Like I said, there's bugs here, like, you know, that's not looking great. But it's a whole new structure. Some of these buttons I'm going to keep because I think they work, like back. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But some of them I'm probably going to update because they just need updates. And then there's just questions that I don't think I'll ever get answered. For example, this is the advanced construction vessel, but it doesn't build anything special when you look at the ODF and you look at the build list in here. There's nothing new. I'm not sure where he was going with that. I don't know if that was a placeholder for something else and he just never finished it. But it literally builds nothing different than this. So, I don't know. That could have been a placeholder for allied races. I don't know. I'm going to have to leave that out while I'm working on this mod to just, you know, see like what I can do with that placeholder. Do I put a couple of advanced stations that are brand new in here like we did with Orb of Time? Is this the allied race and we pick allied races to put in here for each race? I don't know. I love the rally point. It feels like it came from like Command and Conquer or something. So some of these things I'm going to keep in here. I really am. If you're selecting a mining vessel, there's your mining icon. So there's just some things here. There's really good bones to this project. There's really good stuff here. It is literally getting it to a point where we finished everything. It looks clean, and we've got a good structure to put out. Like, I love this UI. This UI for the Federation is not changing. I like this structure, and it's using the base UI, which means I can use something similar for wireframes like I did for Orb of Time to make it cleaner looking. The other UIs have not been done, so I'm going to be pulling from a couple of mods and private projects to do that. Like, I've got a good Klingon UI that wasn't used in Orb of Time or Future Tense, it's in a private mod. I'm going to use that for the Klingons. The Romulans might end up using a slightly modified version from Future Tense. And then the Borg one, I'm going to try and keep this layout, this stock layout. Because I will admit, the one we used for Future Tense, it blocks off like half the screen. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to take the stock Borg UI from the game, and I'm going to try to put elements from the Future Tense one into it. So having more of a Borg background instead of the black background, you know, trying to have bits of assimilation, pieces, and tubules around. We're going to try a few things here just to make it look cleaner, better. You can already see there's the pulse cannons. New explosions. So I'm glad that got highlighted. But the general premise is you've got access to an Aberth Scout that has a tractor beam, and you have access to an Intrepid class, which, you know, you still have your phaser cruiser, your Tricobalt. This one, it looks like it is a medium cruiser. It's your strongest cruiser with a phaser and a light torpedo. So it's kind of what you want to be building as your heaviest cruiser while mixing in other units until you get to the advanced facility, which the advanced facility, he added a Galaxy class, and I like his Galaxy class mod. I probably have to lighten the texture just because the texture for the Galaxy class to me is too dark. It doesn't fit in well with everything else that we have in here. So it'll probably lighten the texture a little bit. But going off of this, I have to pick 3 models per race to add in for these slots. The Heavy Scout slot, the Advanced Cruiser slot, and then a Light Battleship to match the Galaxy class. I'm going to have to do that for Klingons, Romulans, and Borg so it matches up. It's the balance that he's already put forth here. And then for the new ships, and you'll also notice there's new physics. For the new ships, I've got to have special weapons that are new but are not going to break the UI or the balance. So we'll probably keep the tractor beam on here, but we're probably going to put on the Scout class, which I don't think I'm going to keep the Venture. The Type 9 shuttle to me is better. Probably put the probe torpedo in. For the Intrepid, initial thought is just like a phaser spread or a torpedo spread. It's nothing crazy. So it's really going to depend. But that's what we've got here, and hopefully you like this brief look at it. This is what I'm working on. So hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. This is going to take a while, but the goal is to get this out during this 25th anniversary year of Armada. So here's to getting this to you guys as soon as I can as a one-man army. Until next time, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you out there. Stay safe.